Hi, thank you, Neda. Hi guys, I'm here with Kevin, who was one of our yes pitchers. Hi Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. So how did your pitch go?
I think it did pretty well. I gotta say, standing up there with the blinding lights, it's definitely different than my former life as a high school math teacher. A couple more participants here than in my old classrooms, but definitely great to be part of this organization here.
Wow, that's really interesting that you were a teacher. What made you come into the market research profession?
Well, I actually spent some time teaching statistics, and that kind of really spurned my interest in the subject matter, and I really wanted to continue to learn more about it. And eventually I got connected with one of my colleagues at Skim. I got to know a little bit more about that company, and I just really wanted to be a part of that innovative design of research and trying to pave the way for the future.
That's actually really interesting because something that we're talking about today is how we can get younger people into market research. So what would you suggest to somebody that was interested in a career, or how would you encourage somebody that market research is a really interesting sector?
Well, the great thing about market research is it's not just looking at numbers. It's looking at those numbers and seeing out what they mean. And you get to kind of take those numbers, rework them, and you get to look at it and say, what's your story? What is the data telling you? And it's about having those actionable results and insights based on that data. That's really that fulfilling experience for me, I think, in terms of just looking at numbers and looking to apply them in a little bit of a different context.
All about the data for you. That's what really got you interested.
All about the data and thinking outside the box.
Okay, if we go back to your pitch, then what gave you the idea? What made you talk about that today?
So actually my time as a high school teacher, high school students are a little bit less forgiving than the audience members we have here. It's a little bit more difficult to hold their engagement for a long time. So one of the theories in education, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence, is it's been applied in education, and it kind of speaks to the fact that everyone has a different way of learning. There's not one standard metric for intelligence. Everyone learns a little bit differently. They have their own learning styles. But thinking about it now from like a consumer aspect, now that I'm working in a different field, the world of advertising is all about trying to generate that attention and transmit knowledge. In essence, you're just teaching the consumers about your product. But before you teach them, you got to link the exposure to the engagement. And how do you do that? You really need to concretely secure their attention. And one of the things I did in the classroom to secure the attention was by incorporating these different elements of the intelligences into my lessons. So I would do a lesson that, for example, I did a restaurant management activity where the kids had to have a set number of resources, they had to bid against one another, create an entire restaurant ad, and then kind of go through the entire process of, okay, we need to open a restaurant, what do we need to do with it? How do we allocate our resources to kind of maximize our revenues? And it kind of is able to hit on all those different intelligences, logical, mathematical, the visual, spatial for designing the ad. And basically by including something that speaks the language of each of the individual consumers, or in my case it was the students, was really able to help make them feel like they were involved and engaged in the activity.
Interesting. It seems that your experience before market research has really influenced how your career is now then. Yeah.
I think definitely, and one of the great things about dealing with students is they don't have the filter that adults have. So you really get to see them in almost like an unbridled atmosphere where they're just being, talking, and experiencing. And I think getting to see, because they are going to be the next generation of consumers in a couple of years, so as much as we can learn from them now is what we can apply to the future and really try and uptick and exponentiate the growth of market research.
So you're already researching the younger generation before you even became a researcher?
Theoretically, I guess so.
Well, thank you, Kevin. It was great to speak to you.
Thank you very much.
Now we're going to chat to Selina, who is also a yes pitcher. Hi, Selina.
Hello.
How did your pitch go today?
I think it went pretty well. So it was very exciting because it was the first time for me to be on such a big stage. But yeah, it went well.
And how did you come up with the idea?
So the company I work for, FactWorks, is a market research agency. So basically in all our studies we have a lot of open-ended questions, which is important, but analyzing them is super time consuming. So we knew we had to do something to make this analysis more efficient. And that's when I started doing a lot of research about this topic. And I found this particular method, which is called topic modeling, which helps you to see what your respondents talk about in a very fast and easy way. And the results were very promising, so we thought this could be something we could share because it's very relevant and interesting for other people too.
And have you started already putting this research into action, or is it still early days?
Yeah, I actually have. So we started implementing it, and yeah, people started using it at our company. So it's nice to see that it's working and people like it.
And actually, the same question that we asked Kevin, as a young researcher, how would you encourage younger people to come into the industry and see how important and fun and interesting this sector actually is?
Well, I would say, like as Kevin said, it's super interesting to gather so much insights. It's not only that you're looking at numbers, but like you really see what people think and like what drives buying decisions, and like that's really interesting. And so yeah, that's the most attractive thing for me.
Yeah. And this is your first year at ESOMAR Congress?
Yeah, it's my first year as ESOMAR Congress.
And any impressions so far? I mean, we've only been here for a couple of hours, but any sessions you're looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. So I look forward to some speeches at the Technovate stage, and we already came here yesterday for a rehearsal, and I've already met a lot of nice people and heard very interesting ideas. So I'm looking forward to more of that.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Selena.